Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm back, and today, I thought we should watch a very educational video, because, lately, I see that a lot of people are ignorant on Twitter, so I just felt like I needed to relapse my mind and learn about some cool shit. So let's learn about the universe.
On this planet somewhere, and everything that you... This is Earth. You live here on this planet somewhere, and everything that you've ever known is located right here. But just how
Mm.
small exactly is Earth when compared to the scale of the entire universe? Let's start by zooming out to where we can see our nearest cosmic neighbor, the Moon. You may think that the Moon is very close to Earth since it dominates our night skies, but in reality the Moon isn't this close to our planet, it's actually about this far away.
How many miles?
384
384,000 kilometers. Damn, that's how far away it is. It's crazy. We built rockets that can take us to the moon like in I think 8 minutes. I think it's 8 or 10. I think like 30 minutes. 30 minutes we get to the moon. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
4,400 kilometers away from you right now on average. You could fit 30 entire Earths in between this distance, and
What?
if you somehow were able to drive a car at a constant 100 kilometers per hour speed, it would take you about 160 days to
Whoa.
drive the entire
You can
distance.
fit 30
Despite this
Earths.
incredible distance, however, 12 humans have actually set foot here, representing the furthest away that any individual human has ever been away from the Earth, and one of humanity's greatest achievements. This is what the Earth would look like from there if you were standing there with them, and if you wanted to communicate with somebody back at home, it would take a message about 2.5 seconds to travel between you and them, since that's how fast the speed of light can travel at. This is a photo that was taken on Mars, and that tiny dot that you see there
It's
is
Earth.
Earth as seen from the Martian surface. On average, Mars is an incredible 225 million kilometers away from Earth, but that distance can be as high as 401 million kilometers. That means that whenever humanity finally gets around to landing a human on the planet, that person will be 986 times further away from Earth than the
986 times further than the person on the moon. And mind you, like he said, you can fit 30 Earths between the moon and the Earth, which is crazy to me.
astronauts who landed on the moon were. In addition, the time delay for sending a message from Mars back to Earth isn't just 2.5 seconds, it's actually more like 20 minutes each
20
direction,
minutes.
which would render instant communication in the event of an emergency impossible. When we zoom out even further away, we can find the Voyager 1 space probe, which is the furthest away man-made object from Earth. It is currently located 138 AUs from the Earth, AU meaning astronomical unit, which is the distance between the Earth and the Sun, which means that Voyager 1 is 138 times further away from us than the Sun is. At some point on its long voyage, Voyager 1 turned its camera around and took this photograph.
No, bro. What? Don't tell me that's Earth. Bro, if this is Earth, bro, and you see how big this, and people are still saying that aliens don't exist, bro. Aliens do exist. I don't know if they actually visit us. I don't think they visit us because there's a lot of crazy people saying they've been abducted. I mean, who says they're crazy? Maybe they actually been abducted, but like, I can't say for sure because I'm not. There's no evidence to prove or to disprove them. But look, when you see this tiny dot is Earth, and then you see this whole like space here, it just shows you how vast and big space is. Mind you, this is just like in our solar system, bro. Now imagine the galaxy and the universe. Like, it's mind-boggling. Like, there's definitely, they say there's like trillions of galaxies. There's definitely life in other planets for sure. And there's definitely some intelligent life. Maybe there's some that are more intelligent than us, to be honest with you, because people are dead, like dead dumb in Twitter.
It may not look like much at first, but in my opinion, this is the greatest single photograph ever taken in all of human history. This tiny, pale blue dot is Earth, and I don't think that anybody has ever said
Damn.
something as amazing about this as Carl Sagan when he said, "If you look at it, you see a dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever lived out their lives. The aggregate of all our joys and sufferings, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines. Every hunter and every forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilizations, every king and every peasant, every young couple in love, every hopeful child, Every mother and every father, every inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt
Damn,
politician, every superstar,
it's getting
every
very
supreme
emotional.
leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our
Tokyo.
species
That
lived
Shibuya too.
there, on a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. Voyager 1 is currently traveling at 17 kilometers every single second, but even at that speed, it won't break out of the reach of our solar system for another 30,000 years.
What?
Once we go beyond the solar system, we arrive in our interstellar neighborhood. Here we shift to the light year unit of measurement, which is the distance that light travels in a full Earth year, or about 9.461 trillion kilometers. The star Proxima Centauri here is the closest other star to us other than our Sun, but it's still 4.24 light years away from us. To put that into perspective, if it was heading in the right direction, it would still take Voyager 1 over 70,000 years to reach it.
Bro, all
In
of us
other
would be
words,
dead
if
by
you
then.
drove your car at 100 kilometers an hour like in our previous example to the moon, it would take over 6 times longer than the entire age of the universe is just to finally get there. And it wouldn't
Damn.
even exist still when you arrived. When we zoom out even further, we can see the entire Milky Way galaxy.
Light years, bro, is like so far. 4.3 is insane, bro. And that's like the closest sun to us. And it's crazy. I thought the Voyager already like left the solar system or something, but it's still like in our wherever he said it was. So he's like, damn.
Inside of which Earth is located right here. This yellow dot is the furthest extent of humanity of which Earth is located.
Yeah, there's no way we're the only species alive. There's no way we're the only like living organism, bro. Like that tiny little ass dot right here, bro. Compared to all this, there's no way we're alone in the universe. But the thing is, we may not be alone in the universe, but we might as well be because I don't think we'll ever have actual contact with other species until like the far, far future. But even then, I feel like the Earth would be destroyed already because the sun is about to explode like in a billion years, I think.
Right here. This yellow dot is the furthest extent of humanity's radio broadcasts throughout history, which means that any possible aliens who live outside of this range are totally unaware of humanity.
Wait, he said
any
radio?
possible alien extent of humanity.
Oh, so this is not like this is like the extent that we can signal radios. That's the farthest we can. That small ass dot. Damn.
These radio broadcasts throughout history, which means that any possible aliens who live outside of this range are totally unaware of humanity's presence. It's complete silence outside of this yellow dot as far as we are currently aware, but the entire galaxy spans over 100,000 light years from end to end. There are over 100 billion stars and over 100 billion planets inside of our galaxy.
Jeez.
But you have never seen the full glory of the galaxy at night, because 99% of the stars that you can see with the naked eye are limited to this small, tiny region right here. But even this massive galaxy is nothing compared to the rest of what's out there. Zooming out even further and we arrive at the local group of galaxies, a collection of 54 different galaxies that is about 10 million light years across. But zooming out even further and we can see the Virgo supercluster, of which the local group here is just a tiny segment of. There are at least 100 other groups of galaxies just like our own local group inside of here, and the distance from one side to the other is a mind-numbing 110 million light years.
Bro,
but even the massive Virgo supercluster is nothing but a quiet and tiny lobe of the Great Laniakea supercluster.
This shit just keeps getting bigger, bro. Like it's making my head hurt, bro. Like damn.
An enormous structure that is home to our galaxy as well as 100,000 other galaxies. The distance from one side to the other is 520 million light years, but from even there we can zoom out all the way to the entire observable universe and see.
What the bro? It's just a small part compared to the bunch of what the heck, bro. Bro, and you can't even fathom how big it actually is, bro. It's like for real impossible.
That even the titanic Laniakea supercluster is just a tiny and insignificant part of everything. This is the observable universe, and it contains everything that we know of. It is home to at least 2 trillion different and individual galaxies, which together contain more stars than there are grains of sand on the entire Earth. The distance from Earth to any side of the observable universe is 46.5 billion light years, which means that the entire width is 93 billion light years across. What's perhaps even more interesting, however, is what actually lies beyond the observable universe. Keep in mind that the observable universe is all that we can currently see, and it's entirely possible that the rest of the universe outside of it is vastly larger and more fantastic than we can possibly ever imagine. We simply don't know what else is out there because the light from these incredibly distant places has not yet had enough time in the universe's history to reach us yet back on Earth. And the light from some places may never reach us at all. Because some parts of space very far away from Earth are expanding away from us faster than the speed of light, that means that the light from these places will never, in an infinite amount of time, reach Earth. Meaning that even
What?
if humanity is eternal and exists,
Bro, bro, that's actually just crazy to think about, bro. How like when you have like a huge problem, like when you're dealing with stuff, compared to the whole universe, it's so small and insignificant. Like legit, it's like well, sometimes I'll be like, what's the point that it like there's so much like thought. It's like, bro, there's definitely so many lives out there that we have never seen, and they probably don't even know we is. They probably do, and they probably just like step aside, or maybe they have visited us. But like, it's crazy to me to think like there's definitely so much life out there, and the scary thing for me is that we'll never actually have in contact with them, at least not in our lifetime. So that's like the scariest part, bro, because like it will suck if you don't if you never like find life somewhere else.
forever, there will still be an unknown number of places in the universe that we will never know about or ever see. So, it is very likely that as unbelievably enormous as it seems, the observable universe is just a tiny slice of what we can currently see of the entire universe. According to the theory of cosmic inflation that was proposed by Dr. Alan Guth, if it is assumed that cosmic inflation began at 10 to the negative 37th of a second after the Big Bang, and with the assumption that the size of the universe before inflation began was equal to its age times the speed of light, then this would seem to suggest that at the present day, the entire universe is 150 sextillion times larger than the observable universe. That number for reference looks like this, with this many zeros. Let this number sink in for just a
What the
moment. This
heck,
would be
bro?
similar to you thinking that the entire observable universe, everything that you could see, was the size of a light bulb, but then realizing that in reality the entire universe is larger than the former planet of Pluto. Imagine a light bulb in the center of Pluto, but we inside the light bulb were totally unaware that Pluto existed outside of it, and that's a similar situation to this.
What
We are
the
all
heck,
so
bro?
unbelievably small, but you shouldn't worry, because all that means is that there is so much left out there for us to discover together.
Hey, I'm glad he left that message in the end. I guess I'm still like trying to like comprehend it, bro. Like that's crazy, bro. Like damn. Like I don't know, bro. Cool. It's cool. It's cool to like know stuff about that, but at the same time, it's just mind blowing and like scary at the same time. You know what I mean? I mean, I just hope we can like I can like legit before I die we find life somewhere else, bro. Because that's like number one. I just wanna learn about different species and different planets, bro. That's the main thing, bro. But bro, we low key need to fund more space programs and stuff. I'm gonna be honest with you. All right, catch you on the next one.